Australian Ambassador to the Philippines, Kyong, joining us live now. Welcome to CNN Philippines, Ambassador.
Hello, Pia. Good to see you again. Thanks for having me on your program.
Yes, good to see you again, ma'am. Well, let's begin with this. Beijing is now claiming that their Coast Guard did not point a laser beam at a Philippine Coast Guard vessel and that it was just handheld equipment, which they described as a speed detector and is not a weapon. This on the heels of Australia and the US and three other countries condemning this incident. What do you think of this explanation by Beijing?
Look, Pia, I won't comment on China's explanation, and I'll leave that to my colleagues in DFA that I'm sure will be in discussion with China on this issue. But what I can say is that Australian government's position on the South China Sea, including the West Philippine Sea, has been consistent and clear for many years. And that is this. The South China Sea is a vital waterway for the whole international community. In fact, for Australia, 83% of our trade is done by sea, of which 58% of our sea exports are through the South China Sea, with 40% of our imports through the South China Sea. This is how important it is. This is why we want a South China Sea that is peaceful, that respects and adheres to the international law. And we all know that the United Nations Convention on Law of the Sea provides exactly that framework, and maritime claims should be in accordance with UNCLOS. And this is why Australia has always supported the Philippines with your 2016 arbitral award that was delivered. And we still believe that this is final and binding and all members should adhere to it. And all these provocative, unsafe behaviors should be stopped in order to ensure peaceful South China Sea.
But Madam Ambassador, China does not recognize that 2016 Hague ruling or UNCLOS. What are we to do about that? Despite the fact that, like we said earlier, 5 countries have already condemned this latest incident.
And on that, I think this is more important than ever, that the like-minded and those that actually adhere to the international law, that believe in it for the future of our prosperity and peace in our region, has to bind together and continue to call out behaviors when it's against the international law and against the international norms.
Madam Ambassador, there are news reports about a similar incident. Correct me if I'm wrong. Australian pilots reporting that Chinese Coast Guard vessels had pointed a laser beam at them. I want to know what Australia did about that and what happened. How did China explain its behavior? And what happened after that?
Sure. Just like the Philippines has done, our leaders, our Prime Minister spoke up about this incident. We had many incidents, a number of incidents like this, and every time we have made public statements and our Prime Minister spoke up about it and tried to engage with China for explanation. And this pressure is really, really important. We've made public statements. We've engaged media to talk about it, and I think it's important that these behaviors are explained and publicly notified.
And my final question, Madam Ambassador, we're talking about joint maritime patrols with the U.S. Will there be joint maritime patrols between with the Philippine Armed Forces and Australian vessels also?
Australia and the Philippines Defence Cooperation is deep and has been ongoing for many years. So we already work very closely together in Defence Cooperation. Just to give you an example of that, our flagship Indo-Pacific endeavour, where we had 2 HMS Stalwart and Hobart visiting the Philippines. And there were joint exercises during that tour to really help work together and to help the Philippines Navy's capability increase as well. So these things are always ongoing and under consideration.
Under consideration. So joint maritime patrols will be under consideration.
Um, Absolutely. I think there will be conversations about that. I'm not in a position to say a definite yes right now, but the cooperation between our two military forces are very close already under the Enhanced Defence Cooperation Program that has been going for a number of years now.
Ambassador Kyong, HKU, Australian Ambassador to the Philippines. Madam Ambassador, thank you very much for being with us on CNN Philippines.